I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah. You've been in the industry for a long time and you've been really a leader in the industry. But my personal question to you, with all of the work and all the stuff you did, why did you decide to create HBCU Go? What made you do that? Well, you know how much work it is to do a cable and streaming. And so, okay, Curtis, you took on a lot of responsibility to do that. So what made you
Well,
think
I,
about
I
that?
think I think it was something that CB I've been thinking about for a long time. As a graduate of Central State University out of Ohio,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
growing up on the campus of Central State, when you I think you get a real good education by being part of something. And I
Hmm.
was a part of something. I
Right.
was, when I was a kid, I cut the grass for the president of the university, Charles Wesley,
Hmm.
at a young age.
Hmm. Hmm.
When I hung around the campus and I was ball boy for basketball, ball boy for football, I started learning a lot about who Central State was
Right.
and
Right.
really understanding, listen to the old guys talking, staying in my ear about life and the whole 9 yards, man. And then, my brother-in-law, who I met later in life, who was Pat's brother,
Hmm.
he was a guy I idolized at Central State. So I knew there was something about HBCUs that I wanted to really draw out down the road. And after being in the entertainment business, being at ESPN for 8 years, BT for 14 years, and
Hmm.
being around sports and entertainment,
Hmm.
I felt that the exposure for historical black college was not getting its due. We tried it,
Right.
we tippy-toed with it with BT back in the day in the late
Hmm.
80s,
Hmm. I
but
remember.
Bob wasn't really invested
Yeah,
in
he
it.
wasn't
And,
feeling it.
we
Yeah.
were early.
Hmm.
Yeah, we were early in the game.
Right.
It wasn't, the advertising community, which is still struggling and trying to understand who we are, was
Right.
really on the elementary days there. So
Hmm.
we couldn't really drive the needle. And I think that after Prime, came to Jackson State and really opened up everybody's eyes about,
Hmm.
what HBCUs are all about, that's what I said, let me put a push on trying to create a channel that gives 107 colleges and universities, historic university, opportunity to really talk about who they are,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's really how I got into it. And then I think the guy that really pushed me was the guy I'm gonna talk about tonight, Leo Henry, who was one of my mentors, was a big wheel at TCI. Yeah, and then he built his own company, Intermediate
Right.
Partners. And he was the one that pushed me and said, Curtis, you need to build a channel around HBCUs because you really, that's something you want to do.
You're
And so
passionate
that's how I
about it.
really
Right.
got started with it.
Yeah, you were
That's what
passionate
really
about
kicked
it.
me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He really
no
he
question.
kickstarted you. He kickstarted you. Okay. Very, very good.
He definitely did it. He definitely did it. And then I knew that, and every time we did presentations, I knew that I had something. I just had to figure out a way to get some money around me.
Hmm.
'Cause everybody I talked to and presented to was like liking it, but they would all give me the same rap. They would say, well, Mr. Simons, why don't you get it started and come back to us? I'm like, come
Hmm.
back?
Yeah, yeah.
Why am I coming back to you? Why can't you help me get it started?
Right, right.
And luckily for me, Byron Allen, you know, heard about it, really felt strongly and passionate about my dream, and said, you know what? I'm going to partner with you, and
Mhm.
I'm going to make this thing come alive. And he did. And that's exactly exactly how it came about for me.
Great.
And so, it's been an ongoing passion. It's
Right.
going to be it's an ongoing thing that I think that we have something here, and it's made me very proud over the last 4 years because
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
met a
yeah.
lot of college presidents now,
Hmm.
ads, provosts,
Hmm. Hmm.
who are definitely now saying to me, "My man, you got something here.
Right.
Let's try to help this thing grow."
Right.
And
Right.
that's really what it's all about, man. At the end of the day,
Okay.
how can we grow together?
Excellent. Excellent. Now, recently you did a deal with UNCF. Can you talk a little bit
Yes,
about that?
yeah.
What does that mean?
It means a lot to us. Really, the credit goes to my director of engagement. Her name is Shannon Henderson, who's been working with the United Negro College Fund for the last 2 years.
Hmm.
And between the United Negro College Fund and Shannon, they really push hard corporately wise to make this happen.
Okay.
And it's a great partnership because, UNCF has 37 institutions underneath them,
Hmm.
which we want to be part of. and totally involved with. And so this now opens the kickstarts the door. Let's put it that way. To
Okay.
get us started. And really, what it brings to the table is the opportunity to now use their network of touching the alumni, touching the students, being
Mm-hmm.
able to get into schools a lot easier without having to deal with a lot of headaches trying to, plant our
Mm-hmm.
seed because the seed is already planted. So it's
Mm-hmm.
starting to open up a lot of doors. So I'm looking forward to building this relationship. We built a
Mm-hmm.
programming concept called HBCU Voices,
Okay.
that we
Yeah,
partnered
yeah.
up together that we'll have programming on, some content on
Mm-hmm.
HBCU GO around this. And so it's really beginning to really start opening up people's eyes about opportunities of what we can do.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And you've had some expanded distribution too, right? With like Amazon. Is that what I
Yeah, we
understand?
brought on Amazon Prime last year
Mm-hmm.
as our partner, and we'll be making a big announcement, very big announcement in the next couple months that I
Mm-hmm.
think will really open up a lot of people's eyes on the growth of HBCU Go.
Okay. Okay. But that won't affect how you approach football and other sports and stuff in terms of that
No,
extra
no,
distribution.
no,
It'll
it would
add.
clearly open up more doors for us. It would clearly
Okay.
open up more doors for us,
Okay.
because it's going to
Okay.
grow our distribution. It's going to grow our distribution, you
Excellent.
know, and I
Right.
think I think it really
Hmm.
plants a good seed for us on what we can do with HBCU Go.
Okay. Excellent. Now let me ask you a personal question. What
Sure.
what does it feel like being inducted into the Hall of Fame? I mean, that's huge, brother. What I mean, in
I
your
mean,
mind, all
I
this
mean,
work and stuff you've done over the years, what is all of a sudden you've been recognized in a way that a lot of people have never been recognized, but you've done it. So how's it feel to you personally?
it's huge, man. I mean, I'm hoping tonight, Clarence, between me and you,
Hmm.
I don't crack the eye,
Yeah, you got you.
and drop a tear,
I got you.
because it's
I
huge,
got you.
man. I mean, it's
Hmm.
I've gotten, I'm now going into the Hall of Fame with Cable Hall of Fame, and I cracked the egg by going into do the broadcasting Cable Hall of Fame, which is really huge,
Hmm.
and I'm in
Hmm.
the Cable Pioneers,
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
so
Okay. Right.
after all my years of work, this one means a lot to me, Clarence, because it's being honored by a lot of my peers that I grew up in the
Right.
business,
Right.
and to have the stamp now to say the cable industry has recognized me as a Hall of Famer. It's big to me,
Right.
and somebody called me the other day and said, "Well, yeah, man, but it's taken them 30 years. They should have done this 20 years ago." I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a page out of Bobby Danger's book when he said when he got his Hall of Fame in the NBA. And he said,
Hmm.
"Listen, God had a plan for me, and
Right.
maybe it wasn't right away,
Hmm.
and He
Hmm.
made me sit back and enjoy a lot of good things, and then He presented me with what I was looking for."
Right.
And so I'm joyous tonight, man. I'm happy that I can enjoy this, and I'm still alive to be there.
Hmm. Right.
That's a
Right.
big thing
Right.
for me.
You alive and
So
kicking
it's
to
it.
get your flowers.
You
Right.
got it,
Right.
baby. You got it, man. So it's a major honor, man, and I'm not taking it lightly. It's a major
That's good.
honor
That's
that
good.
the industry is basically put the blanket on me on my shoulders like
Hmm.
James Brown and said,
Yeah. Right.
do your dance.
The Godfather. There
It's
you
your
go,
night.
guys.
So there you go.
Very good.
I feel very strong, like I'm walking out like the Godfather.
Right.
But I'm proud of you know a lot of people were around me, like yourself, Clarence, who saw it and saw my work. And
Hmm.
there's no one
Hmm.
can say in this industry that I didn't get it done.
Right.
No one can say that
Right.
because they
Right.
know the work that I put in at BT, ESPN, and now at
Hmm.
HBCU Go.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so I'm proud of it, man. It's a big moment. It's a big moment, man, that I'm very, very, very proud of, bro.
Very good. Very good. So I got one last question. I'm trying to be cognizant of your
Anything
time.
for you.
So what's the next big thing you want to do? And is there anything that you haven't gotten to do that you really want to do in this next phase? What's your next move? We're trying to peep your whole card.
Clarence, and that's a very good question, man, because I'm now starting to think about, everybody keeps coming to me. I'm 70, and
Hmm.
they say, well, how much you got left in the tank, man? I'm still coaching high school basketball, and people are amazed I'm still out on the court at
Hmm.
70 doing that.
Right, right.
I am going to work, Clarence, until I stop enjoying
There you
When
go.
I stop enjoying something, then I'm out.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
out. And that right now, I'm right on in my imagination. I'm right on the heels of doing something special in the HBCU circle that hasn't been done, and help growing these schools and
Mhm.
making them established in a way they've never been established before.
Okay.
So I'm really, really on the HBCU kick hard.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I hope in my tenure with them, Clarence, that I'm able to raise the bar to another level by
Okay.
improving enrollment,
Hmm.
helping drive more dollars into universities, helping educate presidents that
Hmm.
they've got to
Hmm.
change their business plan. They've got to quit looking at just education and understand we've got to develop a business plan to stay
Okay.
alive.
Say right,
And I'm
right.
hoping that HBCU can be a part of that to help
Mhm.
them understand better what needs to be done to grow these universities.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's a great goal. I mean, I know how you feel about it and
Well,
how passionate you are.
thank you, man.
And that's I really applaud what you've done, and I'm sure the heart and soul audience will love this interview, love getting to know you a little bit better. And like I said, I'm cognizant of your time. Is there anything you want to say to our audience that we haven't covered already?
No, the only thing I want to add to it is that one of the things that I'm on a mission this year and moving forward is getting the young people at these HBCU schools to understand the value of coming out and supporting their schools at these athletic events.
Okay.
We should not have empty
Yeah, you shouldn't have
seats.
an empty
I
seat,
don't
right?
understand why the PWIs are out there every day. Don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they got a losing record. They out there supporting the schools, and we need to do the same thing at HBCUs. You
Gotcha.
got the student. We should be working some kind of magic at every facility. We should be putting people in the house,
Yeah, putting
and
butts
I
in
would just
seats.
hope
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Hmm.
you got it, and I'm just hoping that as we did when you were with me with BT, when we started from the ground and grew it. I'm
Hmm.
hoping the same will happen with HBCU GO, that we start from the ground,
Hmm.
we build in with the community, and
Hmm.
the magic word in our world is the village. You need a
Yeah,
village in
yes, you
order
need
to
a village.
live, and we need
Exactly.
a village at HBCU GO.
Okay.
So I'm hoping we can grow that village.
Okay. And you know me, I'll do everything I can with heart and soul and other entities that I'm involved with to help you out and to help you grow. So I totally
You're
appreciate
right
you.
there, man, and I
Yeah,
got to come back and help you grow.
there
So
you
I'm
go.
gonna try to
Yeah.
figure some ways we can get a little
Yeah,
so
the way
support
things are
you.
going now, Curtis, we all got to lock arms and walk forward because, ain't nobody reaching down to pull
Bottom
us
line,
up. We
bottom
got to
line,
lock
bro.
arms and walk forward together.
You got it, man, and I really appreciate you giving me some time today. And please.
Hi, everybody. We just had a great interview with Curtis Symonds from HBCU GO, an industry giant in the cable and streaming services. And I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with more on HBCU GO and what they're doing and how they're connecting with UNCF and other entities to help grow the Black college experience.